That leads us to what happened after the main event. And we get our Wyatt Sicks reveal. All the lights go down. And I'm not going to give anybody names. I'm going to go with what I know. Nikki Cross in her new iteration comes out by herself. They go to that door at the front of the entranceway, similar to what Bray was doing with Uncle Howdy. And they show her. She's got an unreal look. And they go to the back, and you see what I believe is Eric Rowan and bodies. And you start to recognize some of these bodies. And they keep going back. And there, I believe, was the former Dexter Loomis. And I'm sorry if I'm giving away any of this stuff. I think people know that that's who they are. And there's more bodies. And they go to what I believe was Joe Gacy and some iteration of Huskus. And there's Chad with like blood coming out of it. There it is. There's Chad. Don't lose your friends, dude. Look what happened to you. But you know what? A, good on Chad Gable for doing that. Not that I think he would have said no. But B, if you show someone who is that prominently involved in the show, who is one of the most consistently used people, and hell, he was fighting for the IC title for the last couple months. One of the better wrestlers on the show, he got taken out. Right there, that has far more impact than if it was a lower card person that we never see. Because it's Chad Gable, you realize that this group is going to do whatever. Look what they've done. Look at the wrath that they left. And to Tom's point, it would be cool if Chad worked that in. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. You know, he's crying. That was so terrifying what happened to me last week, blah, blah, blah. If I only had you by my side. But because it was Chad and there was just a wake and they wrecked the gorilla position and all that, okay, all the QR codes and something, it means that here they are, and it's the Wyatt Sicks, SICKS. Now, there's 5 people that we saw, or 5 entities here that we saw. Who's Six? Was Bray Six? Is he the omnipresent sixth member? Is there somebody else? Is it Alexa Bliss? SICKS? Maybe there's no number involved. It looked cool. It got people talking. All the reactions I saw on social media were just of amazement. And my goodness, there is the difference in production value and what you can do when it's done correctly. But the thing with this, as it always is, especially in this day and age, where there are no characters even close to that. The closest thing you've had to sell for Supernatural is what, House of Black? Edge dropping red viscous liquid on top of Alistair, Malachi Black. It ain't, they're Taker worked because everybody sold it. It was also the 90s. The Supernatural stuff, Matt Hardy teleporting in AEW didn't work because it didn't fit. The Bray Wyatt stuff was always cool in concept. And sometimes that's okay. Sometimes it's not about the match. Sometimes it's the bells and whistles. The best Bray Wyatt Fiend match was the Funhouse. It wasn't a match. It was a presentation. The stuff with LA Knight, the lights out, whatever the hell that thing was with the Mountain Dew, like that there was nothing special about that. It wasn't good. So it looks cool. How do you carry that out into matches? Right? Did they set the tone for what this group is so the rest of Raw has to be spooked? I remember talking to Seth when he was supposed to go up against The Fiend in that Hell in a Cell. It's not an easy thing to figure out how to handle if you're on the other side of it. How spooky are they? How spooked can you get? How do you beat them? Are they mortal? I'll ask this. Does the presentation hurt your enjoyment of pro wrestling? Is it too much of a suspended disbelief? Can you drop yourself in? Or is wrestling too real now? That is something. The jury's out. I don't know. I was there. I was in the building the night that Bray came back in Philadelphia after Seth and Riddle with Cormier in the fight pit. I was in the building that night in Philadelphia, and it was a cool feeling. It looked awesome. It felt like a big moment. It felt like theatrics, which is what professional wrestling is. But how do you follow it up? I was always a Funhouse fan. I thought that after Bray lost to Randy as the Fiend with a simple, with the Alexa coming out of that Jack in the Box and all the black stuff, like she got hit with Papa Shango goo or whatever. I thought they would just, because Bray did one more appearance after that before he was released in the Funhouse or whatever it was. And I went, he should just be like a Wes Anderson character. Bray should just be around commenting on things in the Funhouse. And then eventually you can get back to stuff. But it was more about him being a character within the show. How does that work in today's professional wrestling? J-Love Sports, never since mid-90s Undertaker was I more spooked. Their acting is really awesome, too. I would agree with that. That looked good. It was presented well. Everybody did a great job in their role. J-Love continues WWE as entertainment and less actual wrestling. With how they do special effects, I don't mind it. Okay, I would just say, as much as it is entertainment, it's all reality-based. Liv trying to get to Dom is a reality-based story. Chad being a power-hungry bully is a reality-based story. Braun Breaker trying to wreck people and now battling over the IC title is reality-based. They are telling stories, but they're all believable stories. You guys say 85% doesn't hurt your enjoyment. That's totally cool. Now, as Rob just said, Uncle Howdy versus LA Knight, SummerSlam, in a pineapple Fanta ice cream truck match. I actually thought that hurt Bray. They're not going to turn down money, but Bray Wyatt being in a sponsored match, like you can't work the spooky gimmick into a sponsor. It doesn't go. You can't have everything. You can't. Like that was tough to believe. Once again, I was in the building for that. Nobody reacted to that thing. Great Stambino. I don't think this Wyatt Sicks faction is to be too steeped in supernatural elements of horror and suspense thriller works for me. Yeah, that is the key. If they can do it and they don't have secret powers, they don't have supernatural powers, it can work. Tom says there has to be some sort of human element behind the gimmick. These people hurting because they lost Bray and carrying out chaos in his name is way more intriguing than magic and wizardry, in my opinion. Agree. I will tell you this story. There was I don't even want to say pitch. It was supposed to happen. When Edge had Judgment Day, he was going to get powers. That was going to be a thing. There was a Raw episode, and they bailed on it, where Edge, and this was all Vince, was going to be moving, like floating towards the ring. Like he was going to be watching a match, and like somehow he was moving closer in some throne. You couldn't see it. It was almost like he was levitating towards the ring closer. And I read it and I was like, where did he get these powers from? It makes no sense. And I'm pretty sure that was Vince's fingers getting involved in it and not Edge. Edge did not want to have superpowers as far as I know. Like I read it and I was like, ugh. And they didn't do it. So for whatever reason, they didn't do it. Whether they couldn't execute it in production or whatever, they didn't do it. That Judgment Day, and I think Edge just talked about that, was supposed to turn into spooky, superpowered Judgment Day. It's better that they didn't do it. But where do they go from here? Where do they feud? What do they mess with next? Look at the chaos they can cause. What if they wreck the whole Money in the Bank? Would help booking. You don't have to worry about 2 briefcases. What's their next move? Are we going to get introductions to, where does the QR codes go from here? Is it more just straightforward? This is this person. This is this person. Yeah, the horror element versus the supernatural element is what they have to balance. And it shouldn't go supernatural at all if you want it to be believable. There's just also that, do they have that Jason Voorhees of them where they can't be, knocked down for too long? Do they get beat? Can they take a beating? Maybe that's more of it. But that was pretty much Raw last night. So a lot packed into a show that didn't have a venue that reacts well, and they did well with it. So a better show than, I'll say it, I know we put the poll up, a better show than Clash. Some intrigue heading into SmackDown with Punk and Drew. A world title match already made, and they basically had to rush because they only have a few weeks to get to Money in the Bank with Priest and Seth. A step forward with Chad and Alpha Academy, a big step forward. Some qualifiers still coming. They reset a lot of things. They took things forward where they needed to. Pretty well done Raw overall. And if you would have told me that people were saying that the Corpus Christi Raw was the best Raw of the year, I'd say you're crazy. But a lot was taken care of in the best way possible. Hey, this is Matt Camp. Thanks for checking out one of our recent clips from the wrestling mat. Why is someone so close to The Rock kind of throwing Cody over the bus?
Yeah, a lot of people won't engage with Jim Cornette. I did just because I have a mark for Jim Cornette. And I cut
Please subscribe right now. Hit the like and turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. And I think you should listen to your TV partners. Let me tell you about WWE and a little insight. More subscribers means more content. And make sure you follow us on social media at WrestlingMat23 on both Twitter and Instagram.